record this. So back to what June was saying. So June, kind of just say what you said. What services would you have to give up, right? So let's say, hey, June,
Right.
I really do want you to cut your commission. What services? And you can talk about how you've got the 1%, the 1%, and the 1%. Now, obviously, Uncle Sam is not negotiating with his money, is he? No. And most people laugh when you bring that up because they all know, right? And then you've got your brokerage and your expenses to service the listing. So you may give some examples here. So how much do you guys pay? June, I've got you on, so I'm going to use you as my person. So what are some of the basic expenses when you list a property? And let's just write some of them out.
Sure. Professional photography.
What else?
Facebook ads. Personal property website.
We could add staging for some of you there.
Yeah.
You might even do drone photography.
Right.
Okay, and we can go on and on and on. And I would make this list really big, you guys. And I would make this part of the conversation, June. So what I'm going to challenge you to do is start adding this into your conversation before you go into this. And say, so just so you're aware of my investment in your home, when I take your listing, I'm going to spend X amount on this. I put a custom sign in the yard with my contact information so that the consumer's going to call me because I'm the best person to try to get you an appointment for your listing. That costs me X amount of dollars and I have to get it installed. I do this Facebook ad to bring you leads and blah, 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 blah. So you can add all that up. And then you could say, my challenge with this is I'm a top realtor and I give every one of my sellers this level of service. And if you're asking me to take a 33% pay cut, something's going to have to give. Because the truth is, I can't not pay Uncle Sam. And the truth is, I have to make some income on this, or I'm actually a nonprofit organization and I have to feed my family. So here's my challenge. I can cut some of those things, but the truth is, in today's market, you guys, that's so dangerous because your first showing is online. Your internet curb appeal has never been more important ever because your first showing is online. And for some people, they will only see your home in this light. So if we do that, we may be harming your listing. And I struggle with that as a professional. And that's the conversation June I'd have around it. Now, he probably is still going to ask, right? Because he's already done a couple deals with you. And so the next pivot is, instead of me putting your listing in jeopardy by cutting the commission so that, you may not have the showings that you deserve, or you may not have that internet curb appeal that you need in today's market, especially with COVID, I would like to offer you a fee-free mortgage and with the buy. And I know your sell is $250 and your buy is probably going to be $375, $450 range. I can save you more money on that than I can even do with this. And that's what I can do for you. And that would be a pivot that would work really, really well. But if you don't go all the way into the conversation, you guys, into literally what we talked about, if you don't run at this conversation and either show it on the screen as simply as I did or visibly in front of them, they won't get it, okay? And a great way of kind of pivoting on that conversation is, hey, it never hurts to ask for a discount, and I totally appreciate that. And yet I'm going to show you how I can even give you a bigger discount than what you're actually asking of me. And by me giving you a different kind of discount, you're still going to get what you want, which is bottom line discount. And yet I won't be putting your listing at risk. Because the truth is, in today's market, we're selling homes online. And the process of selling it contract to close is what you're paying me a success fee for so that it goes okay. And I'm there to negotiate for you and put the deal together and put it back together if it blows up, or problem solve for you. Or if it's not the right buyer, put it back on the market to pick the right buyer. Yet, at the end of the day, if I stop staging or stop the professional photography or the drone, I feel like I'm not serving you properly. And that would be the objection. But if you don't start with the beginning conversation, do you see how that second part of the conversation might not really be effective? They just want the discount.
So
So
Jess, we can tell them too that we have a brokerage split too, correct? Even if
yeah,
we're not
absolutely.
paying all year.
Right, absolutely. So when you go into the back up to the whiteboard, when you say brokerage, you could say, that is obviously not negotiable. You can't not pay your Uncle Sam or the broker, and yet the expenses is really the only thing you have control over. However, these expenses are critical for a listing to get maximum value. And, Tony, I understand you want me to take a pay cut, but the truth is it's a 33% pay cut, not a 1%. And my fear is if I don't do this properly with the COVID and everything else, you need to be online beautifully. Your curb appeal, your internet curb appeal has to be the best ever, because there will be buyers that are out of state that are going to bid on your home that will not have a chance to be here to see it. And if you don't have the best photography or the best staging to put your home in the best light, you may not get this bidding war that you're hearing all these other sellers are having. You may have no showings or lackluster showings. And the truth is we get one shot at this when we launch your listing. And I'd hate for it to be launched and to fizzle. Do you want a bidding war or do you want crickets? And we're talking about how many dollars difference for you maybe to have a bidding war on your home. And as a professional, I struggle with giving you that discount, because the truth is, do you really want to go with this agent that said they do it for 1%, because they've already given themselves a 66% pay cut before even starting with you? And this is the person that you're hiring to negotiate for you to protect the equity of your biggest asset. The other point to that is, if they're not really giving themselves a 66% pay cut, maybe they're handing that off to the other agent, and then what's going to happen? So there's really no truth in that 1%, is there? Because there's always the other side of the transaction. And so the other part to bring up is all these companies have all these little asterisks in fine print. And you can say, you know what, when you hire me, you get me. The real deal. I'm not some employee that's going to be part of the transaction. You're going to get handed off to other people. It's me working for you. It's a success fee. You only pay me when I'm successful at accomplishing the end goal. And I am on the front end making this investment with staging and photography because I believe in you. I believe in your listing, and I know I can get it sold for a great price. And yet if you hand this off to someone that's already willing to give up 66% of their income, and they still have to pay Uncle Sam, right? Or they're saying they're giving you a 66% savings, and they're actually handing it off to the other side of the deal. How are they actually harming you? And that's how comfortable you guys have to having this conversation. So you got to run at this, not wait for the objection. You should have this conversation and make sure you educate them on how you're paid. And what happens is you get them thinking, and they're like, yeah, I never thought of it that way. And you put a little thought in their head. And when you have the consumer answer your question, now they may not know the answer, and then you can add more. And like, not only that, you can add more in, and they start thinking more and more, and they realize that this is a really big deal and that this isn't something to mess around with. So commission, the objection of commission happens when the conversation doesn't. And if you educate them, and show them the truth and show it real plainly like I did on that whiteboard, they'll understand at another level.